morning, Joe.
How are you today?
Doing fine,
Preparing for the storms.
I guess.
They've told us about it 85 million times, so something better happen.
I know. See, didn't get much rain yesterday after all the talk.
No, and really the weather was just gorgeous for the big dance party on Hancock Adams Common on Sunday.
It was a gorgeous day. What a great turnout, too.
Yeah, folks really seem to enjoy those community events for sure.
Indeed.
I was wondering, Mayor, if we could talk a little bit about the Welcome Center that's open at Eastern Nazarene College. Last week when we talked, you had hoped there might be some type of a community meeting put together to let folks know what's going on there. Has anything emerged from that?
Yes, actually, I'm still waiting to hear from the state. They've agreed to do that. They're trying to coordinate holding a meeting with the right parties, including the NC. Again, my office has not been notified of a date yet, but they've agreed to do it.
Okay. I know that the governor is holding a press conference later this morning regarding the whole migration status here in the state of Massachusetts, possibly considering declaring it a crisis, which I guess would open up some federal funding. Would the city benefit from that?
It's possible. It's still there's still a lot of questions, more questions than answers, Joe. For example, if there were school-age kids and they were there long enough attending our schools, then yes, the state would reimburse us for costs related to that.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm not aware of any revenue sharing or reimbursement rate, and I'm not anticipating any other issues, but some things could come up. Now, that may have an effect on how ENC operates if or some other nonprofits that are involved. I don't know how they provide the meals, et cetera, et cetera. So, at least on our end, I'm not aware of any other way.
Okay. It seems like there may be some communication issues, some language issues if there are students in the schools where English is not their primary language.
Yeah, I'm sure that we've got a lot of kids in our schools that English is not their primary language,
Mm-hmm.
and we obviously we take care of that. So we're used to that. So I'm sure we'll be able to manage it.
Okay. Mayor, can we talk a little bit also about Faxon Park? I know there are some plans maybe to make some changes, some improvements at Faxon Park.
Well, as you know, Faxon Park is one of our largest parks in our system, with some parcels added a number of years ago. For example, where the high school was going to go, and some other pieces have been added through open space. It's a pretty big piece now, and it always needs attention. I mean, we're never able to do everything, but certainly it's an urban forest that needs work. We did some trails a few years ago, which has been well received. We've done I think they call it Frisbee Golf, little course up there that's been very well used. And we're looking at some of the addition area where we picked up from those other parcels, perhaps do some pickleball courts and some other formal uses. In addition, we're looking at probably a pavilion and a restroom area with a secondary picnic site like it used to be up there, because Pageant Field is, we reject people all the time because the slots are filled all summer long. The calendar fills right up. So it would give us another beautiful spot for people to enjoy for outings and so forth. So I know Commissioner Murphy's been working with Councilor Andronico and the neighborhood on the potential improvements. Obviously, the neighbors that live along the park side aren't interested in any formal activities near their homes, and I understand that, but there's plenty of room up there on the far side to address some of those potential new additions, and perhaps we can have a second egress from the Falls area, because it is the park bleeds over to that side. So, Commissioner Murphy and his team's working hard on it.
Yeah, I know he has talked about that at second access, but made it abundantly clear that that would not result in a cut-through for motorists.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So would that be something that's happening later this year, or is that still in the plans for next year?
I think there could be some maintenance work done this fall, but I think the bulk of it probably be done next year.
Okay, very good. As you know, the state finally approved budget for the fiscal year that started 2 months ago or so. And just looking through it, Quincy benefits substantially in a lot of different areas, most notably, I guess, for public education.
Yeah, the Chapter 70, it was really where the increase was.
Yeah.
As folks may know, we get both state aid, local aid. It's broken down into unrestricted, general local aid, and Chapter 70 local aid, and then Chapter 90, which is money towards street resurfacing. And the big, significant increase was in the education side, the Chapter 70, which was very timely for us because of all the contracts that we settled, and we had some market adjustments on some of the real lower-paid employees, such as food service workers in the cafeterias, paraprofessionals. I mean, they were barely making minimum wage, so we made some good adjustments. So that helped quite a bit. As you also know, we, as a city, we dedicate a lot of resources to the schools beyond the school budget from the various departments, the debt service, health insurance, all those other categories. So this does help us keep up with some of those costs that continue to rise. And I want to thank, Speaker Mariano and Representatives Chan and Ayers and Senator Keenan for their advocacy and support of local aid. They've been great partners for us.
Yep, it's according to this breakdown, $45.1 million, Chapter 70 for the city. What does that represent for an increase over the last year's budget? Do you know?
I think it's about $10 million.
Wow. Okay, so quite significant. Yes. And Chapter 90, it doesn't break down the Chapter 90. Do you know what the city is receiving?
I don't know if they've settled it yet.
Okay.
It's kind of it's local aid, but it comes under a separate category, so they may not have reached that one yet. But I know in the last few years it was about $1.9 million.
Yeah. So.
Which is, we appreciate, but it doesn't go that far. That's why we're doing our own program that we've been underway now for the last couple of years, a $100 million road program over 10 years, and we certainly use that towards it, and it helps for sure. But people would be waiting forever if we didn't do what we're doing in the local initiative. So we're making great progress. Both contractors, Jerome and Susie, and some others are doing great work out there. We're getting a lot of positive comments from people on the new roads.
Yeah, as I recall, the $1.9 million just about paid for the Adams Street section improvements, and that was it.
Yeah, it doesn't go far the dollar anymore.
Exactly. There is funding, I see, for improvements to Raschuti Drive, $40,000. I'm sure that's not enough to completely redesign that intersection, but that obviously is in the thought process, at least.
Yeah, I think that's something to help with the transition. We're going to try to do a temporary lighting setup.
Oh.
And then our team is working hard with MassDOT on a permanent plan there. It's obviously a state intersection, and the state would fund the majority of it, but the city's, through the Quarry Hills accounts, picking up the tab for some of the design work and for some of the cost of this temporary light system, which I don't know that much about, except that both the state and our traffic parking lighting team think it will help, at least in the meantime, until we do the more permanent solution.
Okay, very good. Mayor, we lost the chairman of the planning board in the past week.
Yes, quite a blow. Yeah. Richie Mead was been around a long time. He worked for the city from a young age, and then went up the ladder to become the planning director until his retirement. And then, of course, we tapped him to come back to serve on the board, and he became the chairman of that board. But, more than that, over the years with anybody that dealt with Richie, his department, he was an expert on city zoning, on zoning districts, on CDBG, federal funding. Anybody had a question in those areas, everybody ran to Richie. He was the go-to guy, and was always available, treated everybody so well. He was very active in his parish at St. Anne for many, many years. He was the head of the retirees from the city organization, nonprofit group. He was an officer with the Quincy City Club for many years, helping people at Christmas time. Remarkable individual, one of those special Quincy people that you just don't replace, Joe.
I had a wonderful sense of humor as well.
He did.
Yeah.
And it used to make me angry, I'll tell you, because he could eat like a horse. The guy never put a pound on.
It's as thin as a rail. I know. Yes. Yeah.
He also was very active on the Flag Day committee, I should say.
Oh.
We used to meet on a Flag Day mornings, and Richie was always there. Was having his donut and coffee. But it's just a class guy, and certainly my sympathy to his wife Kathy and sons Chris and Jeff, their spouses, and the grandkids.
Yes, yeah.
It's a big loss for the city.
Certainly, yeah. If folks, the family's requesting donations in lieu of flowers to My Brother's Keeper in Easton, which helps.
Great organization.
Yes, helps folks furnish their homes and provide homes as well. So it's a great cause and great tribute to him as well.
Indeed.
Appreciate your time as always, Mayor.
All right, Joe. Enjoy the day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.